I'm changed once again because it's a different day. So I stopped by Harbor Freight and I picked up a few things. I would have went somewhere else, but Harbor Freight's pretty cheap, and this is like pretty much a one-time use type of thing. So here's what I got. Spot-Weld Drillbit. I bought two of them because they're pretty cheap. It's cool because it also has two sides to it, so you can technically just flip it if it starts to get dull. I also got this. It's an automatic punch. So you find the center of your spot weld, and you just press it against it and it puts a punch mark in. So that way your spot weld cutter doesn't walk around on you. I also got this. Actually I bought a few of them, but I got one of these wire wheels so I can grind up all the seam sealer on the car. So when I'm done with all that, you know, I bought punches and chisels, you know, so I can kind of separate the firewall from the car. Now there's a lot of different ways to separate the firewall from the car. You can either just cut it out, or you can try to do it the right way, which is, you know, using the spot weld drill bit, drilling out all the spot welds one by one. And I think there's probably like 60 or 70 of them. Yeah, and you can do that and you can remove the firewall like that. So I'm gonna try to do it the right way. I already did a lot of research and I sat outside staring at my car for hours at a time trying to figure out how I'm gonna do this. So this is the route I went with and I hope it works. So let's get started.
Alright, so we're back in the garage working on the clip. Currently seeing what my options are because there's a lot of different ways to do it, and I don't want to do it the hack job way, but I don't want to pull my whole front unibody apart just to get the whole firewall out. There's going to be some spot weld drilling, but there's also going to be some cutting. So it looks like I'm going to have to maybe cut the sides, and then I'll spot weld drill the bottom. I mean, I know you guys probably know this, but a lot of the firewall is part of the fender well. It connects to a bunch of different points here. I'll show you guys so you know what I'm talking about.
Okay, so I have a lot of stuff wire brushed. I haven't really wire brushed it all yet because I still don't know where I'm gonna drill these spot welds. But see, I wire brushed a little bit over there. So there's this piece right that goes right over the transit tunnel. This is actually spot welded to the frame, but you see when it gets to here, it actually goes in between the fender well and the firewall on top, and then on the bottom it just goes strictly to the firewall. Here, see, here's the same piece that I'm talking about right here. So it goes directly to the firewall right here, but up top it actually goes to the fender well or the shock tower. So now I don't really know what I'm going to do here because the firewall ends right here. So I'd have to wire brush all that away and, you know, spot weld drill that. And what I have to do here, here's where the harness comes through the firewall. I'm gonna actually have to cut it right here because it doesn't end here. It actually ends right here. Let me show you on the inside. See, it actually goes all the way in. See, there's the same hole I'm talking about. It actually goes all the way in, like another 4 inches, which is, I'm not gonna be able to pull it out of the car unless I pull either all of this apart or I pull all of this apart. And I'm not gonna do that because I'm not gonna hack up my car because this right here is all structural. I don't wanna mess up any of this. It's gonna be a lot of work, but the only way you're gonna figure it out is you have to get into it. There's really no write-ups on this. The only write-up was the guy cut out the firewall only and left the cowl here, but you can't really do that because these sides aren't symmetrical. You see what I'm saying? See the hump right here? This is where the motor goes, right here for the windshield wipers, and it's not symmetrical. In other words, the hump goes right here behind the brake booster. So if I were to lift the cowl there, I'd have to do some hammering, and I don't want this or the clutch pedal or, you know, the gas pedal to end up being crooked. These are spot welded, so I'm actually working on drilling this out as we speak. Take this little plate off, so once I get up here, I can just keep cutting right here and end the cut right here. That way I can take all of this, and then I'll just weld this back on. I'm doing the same to the other side as well. I'm really sorry for all the talking, guys. I know you guys want to sit here and listen to me talk all day, but if anyone's looking to do this, this video can be very informational for you. The shapes are different on each side of the trans tunnel. See, this one kind of has like an L shaped, and this one kind of has like a squiggle shape. See how it looks right here? I'll show you right now. Now I did look a little bit at the Lexus. The Lexus looks like it is the same, so I can just drill all of these spot welds out to take care of the bottom of the firewall. Just drill all of them out. But yeah, I'm gonna dig into this a little bit, and I'm gonna kind of let you guys know what I'm doing. Alright, so I'm drilling out all these spot welds. Only bad thing is I'm going through these bits pretty quick. So if you were gonna do this project, I would say I only bought 2 bits and I'm already almost done with the second one, because the blades, either the blades break or the needle guide actually gets worn down, and then it doesn't want to stay inside of your spot anymore. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys how to use this Spot-Weld drill bit. This is what a spot weld looks like. You can kind of see it's like a little dimple. See that little dimple? They pretty much reveal themselves. So with this punch here, you're basically just gonna try your best to get in the middle of the spot weld, and you're gonna make your mark. So I'll show you over here what I did. I took my punch and I took a pretty hefty hammer and I just gave it a little blow. You're just giving it a guide for this to sit in. So that's pretty much it. I drilled through one layer and one layer only, and then I'm gonna go on the bottom side in the fender well, and then I'll separate the seam. With this Spot-Weld drill bit, you're really not supposed to drill all the way through. You're only supposed to drill a little bit through, and you'll feel it. You'll feel it right away when you get there, because it'll kind of get really easy. And you only want to drill through one piece of metal, because these spot welds are actually holding maybe, I don't know, depending 2 to 3 to 4 pieces of metal together. And throughout the firewall, you'll feel which one's thinner and which one's thicker. But see, I already got all these done. So after you drill the spot weld, it separates one piece of metal from the bunch. So after that, all you gotta do is take your chisel, hammer it in, and separate it. It's pretty simple. Now don't drill too far like I did, because I'm stupid and I just made a big hole. So that's gonna kind of be a pain in the ass to weld back together when I'm putting it in. See, I kind of did it right there too. See, what'd that take? A couple minutes maybe? I mean, you know, I already had a bunch of them drilled out, but so now the firewall is separated from the floorboards, but you can still see, if you look in there, there's still another piece on the inside of this. So that's going to be the fender well. So it's going to be on the other side of this. That's going to meet the firewall. Meet the floorboard again, and go back into the car. So the firewall seems to be sandwiched in between that. So now what I'm doing is I am wire wheeling the seam sealer off of the inside, because I already separated the floorboard on the other side. Now I need to separate the fender well from the firewall. So I'm going to reveal all these spot welds, then I'm going to have to drill these out, and then the firewall should be completely free on the bottom. It's going to be kind of hard getting in that corner, because then after that I have to go inside the engine bay and make sure that everything's good over there. So I drew my line where I wanted my cut to be, and I'm trying to make it as straight as possible, freehanding it, but that's right in the middle of the hole. It comes up, and you see how it follows that seam line right there where the two metals meet together. So up here I continue my line front side, continue my line. I'm going to go all the way down along the seam up to the front of the cowl, down the cowl. This is the same thing but on the other side, and then down to where the firewall breaks right there, where I have everything drilled out. And then I'm just going to cut it down right here across this, so we can keep this piece with the car and we can take this with us. I'm going to start off making very light cuts just to kind of etch my way, and then I'll start making them deeper. Wow, it's going to be pretty tough. very shitty area to cut from. Well, it's pretty hard to film by yourself when you're cutting, but I pretty much got a perfect line from the bottom all the way to the top. And it may not look straight, but it's straight on the body. Even if it isn't straight, all I gotta do is make sure that I follow the same lines. So here's where it starts getting complicated. That's why I cut right next to it, so I can keep that same structure. But when I weld it again, it's gonna almost be like stitch welding it. So I'll keep my strength here. And everything lined up perfectly. And then it all goes through the fender well and then behind this piece, which is same with the car. Well guys, did some more cutting and grinding. I didn't want to film it all because it would have been like a forever time lapse, but I'm going to show you exactly what I did so you did not skip a beat. So what I did here, since this is all one piece right here, see that? I just drilled the firewall away from this, and then I'm keeping this for my steering hole. So I cut it right here so this will stay with the firewall and this will stay with the car. Because I feel like this is kind of structural, because it comes right here and then it kind of wraps around to the end right here. Now I'm not going to go that far, so that's why I wanted to leave that with the car in one piece to keep some strength, you know, while the firewall's out of the car. So this is the way I'm doing it. That way this is still attached to the shock tower and still attached to the chassis, whatever, unibody, whatever you want to call it. So I cut it away on both sides. It was kind of a pain in the ass, but I tried to do as far over to the end as I could because I wanted to keep everything together. So I cut it on the bottom. I cut it all the way to the firewall, but I did that on both sides, and I tried to be as clean as possible so I can weld it back together. And then right here I cut along the same seam. You want to try to make it parallel. Well, this is what I did as a guide. I tried to make it parallel with this right here. Try to make it parallel with that, and I also put it right next to that seam. So I didn't cut the seam. So I did it right next to the seam, and I tried to make it as straight as possible. Even though this side didn't come out as good as the other side because I went a little crooked. So I'm not in the center of the hole, but it's okay as long as I cut my car the same way. It's not going to be a big deal. So on the inside, you need to make your cuts pretty shallow or else you're going to cut through that. So I made my cuts pretty shallow only so I cut the firewall only, and then I just folded this floorboard down on the inside so I can reach everything else that I feel like I missed. And the same on the other side. Same on the other side, you can see the ground right there. So I did all that, and then once you start jiggling the firewall, you can kind of see the spots that you missed. So I've been jiggling the firewall for the past like 20 minutes trying to see what was moving and what wasn't. So now I think everything's moving except for there's one more spot right here that's not moving where the hole is. It's not moving, so I have to work on that, and then my firewall will pretty much come right out. It's all loose, so let's get a time lapse of me. Woo! That looks crazy. Super crazy. A lot goes into that, but ain't nothing we can't handle. That was not easy, but she's out. She's out and I'm happy. So one down, one to go. I'd say a little over 50 hours, 40, 50 hours of work, but that was, like the whole engineering and coming up with a plan and everything like that, which takes some time. But now that I know what to do, it's going to be a lot easier on my Lexus. The only shitty part is going to be pulling my motor out, because that's going to suck, but at least I can clean it. Why am I sitting here? I don't know, because I can, I guess. Sitting on my trans tunnel. Thanks for watching this series, guys. Be sure to tune in for part 3. Part 3, we're going to be working on my car. We're going to be pulling that apart. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and like this video, or else I'm going to stop this series right now. And you guys aren't going to see the finished product.